the results here and taking a look, predicting and projecting where things may end up. And CSIR has been with us all week as well. Professor Pravesh Deba is with us, and Prof, good to see you again. You see, we can't even speak. We're falling over our words. None of us have had much sleep, but hey, it's been fun and really exciting.
It really has been, but I suppose right now, I mean, from the morning, you were already starting to predict what the outcome may be. But now, obviously, with this amount of the votes already captured, we're sitting at 96%. I'm sure the picture is crystal clear. Let's start off with the national picture. How are we looking there, Prof?
Okay, what I'm actually doing is I'm comparing at a national level what we said we would predict at 5 yesterday morning to where we currently are, and looking at how accurate the model was yesterday morning, because it's important at that stage for us to give our viewers quite accurate information.
Yeah.
And you can see that for the ANC at national level, we were overestimating the ANC by 1.4%, and for DA we were also overestimating by 1.7%. So all of this is within our error of margin that I always said of 2%.
Yes.
Yeah.
So nationally, you can see that the model did work. I think we were really challenged this time, in producing good results. So, but at the same time, we did achieve our 2% error at the national level.
And one of the challenges you said, sorry, before
Yes.
you move on there, Prof, was one of the challenges from the get-go you said was the turnout. It was something that you were never expecting that it was going to be this low. In fact, that's even lower than what was projected. I know at one point it went up to 48%, then 47%, but now 46% is more likely the number that is of the turnout for South Africans that had come to the polls.
Yes, absolutely. And in fact, at 5 o'clock in the morning, we were also predicting 47% of the turnout.
Yeah.
That was only 9.6% of the VDs declared at that stage. And I also explained, for the municipal elections, we need at least anything between 10 to 15%.
Yeah.
So it was an early result, but it was still...
It held.
It held.
Yeah.
And then for the provinces, we started to have more difficulties in getting to the 2% margin of error. For Eastern Cape, we just made it at 5 a.m. At that stage, 15.7% of the voting districts were declared, and you could see it was only a DA that we were over predicting by 2%, whereas all the others were within our range. Then for Free State at 5 a.m. We also released this results as well. So we released the projections here, and this is what we are currently projecting, which should be more or less the end result. And as you can see there, we are within our margin of error, except for DA again, which resulted in overestimating them by 2.2%. The same for Mpumalanga. We actually did quite well. There was 14.2% of the voting districts declared at 5 a.m. yesterday, and you would see that the difference here is under 1% margin of error. So it predicted very well. Probably the one that we should really go to is Gauteng. This was the one that troubled us the most with Action SA.
It's troubling the parties too.
This is what this column here is what was given at 11 a.m. Because at 5 a.m. we only had about 3% of the voting districts declared. So at 11 a.m. there was 19.3% of the voting districts declared. But even at that stage, the model found it very difficult to predict accurately for a DA and for Action SA. So for DA, we were overestimating by 2.7%. and for Action SA, we were underestimating by 3.5%.
And perhaps if we could just run through this in terms of the projection now, Prof, of where we're at for Gauteng. So if we can just maybe do that quick comparison with what the 2016 result was and what the projection is now for the various parties in Gauteng.
Okay, so for ANC in 2016, for Gauteng, it ended up at 46.1%. We are projecting for ANC it would end up at 36%. For DA in 2016 it was 37.2%. We're projecting it to end up at 28.4%. So there is a drop for both DA, ANC, and for EFF in 2016, the actuals was 11.3% for them, and there is a slight increase to 11.7%. But the big one that has come in is Action SA. Obviously, there's no result for 2016, but we are projecting they would end up at 10.4%.
And of course, the Freedom Front Plus again,
yes,
the big story of this election. And they were at 1.1% in 2016, if my eyes can see that well. And the projection
is 4.2%.
Yeah.
That's correct.
Very interesting for them, the Freedom Front Plus. And just, the picture in Gauteng is one that certainly is going to get a lot of traction, because that's the powerful one. That's what every political party wants to get a grip on. But this is the one that needs some really good management, because it's just been up and down, and it's been a very, very tough one. Any other ones that we've got that we can go and have a look at there? That's Gauteng.
Yeah, let's
Western
not
Cape.
Discriminate. Let's go to the Western Cape.
Indeed, absolutely. We need to go to the Western Cape.
For the Western Cape, again, our margin of error was highest for DA, where we were under-predicting in this case by 2.8%. And the others were all within a percentage point. So, we did quite well for the other political parties. And again, what we are looking at is that for ANC in 2016, they for Western Cape, the support was 26.5%. We are projecting that to fall to 20.7%. For DA, it was 63.6%. That's expected to fall to 54.3%. For the EFF, it was 2.8. There's a gain for the EFF to 3.3 in the Western Cape. And then for the ACDP, which was 1%, there's an expected gain of 1.9% there. Then for Good, there isn't any information in 2016, so we are projecting that will end up at around 4.4%.
Oh, good for Good. So that's the Western Cape. Which other one do we have? Northern Cape. And
we
that
have
one
Northern Cape as well. For Northern Cape, we are within our 2% error of margin for all the political parties. For the ANC in 2016, it was 58.7%, and it's expected to end at around 51%, so just above 50%.
So they managed to just hang on there.
Yes. For DA, in 2016, it was 25.3%, and that's expected to drop to 20.6%. For the EFF, there's a slight increase from 8.8 to 10.8%. For COPE, there's a drop in COPE from 2.8% to 0.8%. And for Freedom Front Plus, there's an increase from 1.4% to an expected 3.2%.
Can we just, before we let you go, I think have a look at Limpopo? I know we were looking at Limpopo in sort of with a bit earlier. Have you got the province there? Is that the Limpopo? Let's have a look just before we wrap up. That's Mpumalanga.
Mpumalanga.
And Limpopo, I know we were, that's Free State. Free State, interesting as well.
Tell you what.
There's so much more to look at.
Let's run through all of them, but we can't do that right now.
Yeah.
We've got to go to Rob Byrne,
unfortunately. We've got to get
standing by
traffic.
with traffic, and then we'll come back. We'll come back and we'll wrap up on the provinces we haven't had a look at.
All right, Rob, over to you. Good morning to you.